Hello, everyone. I'm Sophie, and welcome to JFK Conspiracies, where we talk about who really killed JFK and the conspiracies surrounding his death. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to JFK Conspiracies. Today, we are going to be talking about the Umbrella Man. Now, the Umbrella Man's real name is actually Louis Stephen Witt, and he was born on October 20th, 1924. He is more widely known as the Umbrella Man and the theories surrounding him. The reason people started to become suspicious of Witt is because on the day of the assassination, he was using an umbrella, even though it was super nice out and it was nice and warm, there were no clouds, and people just thought that was really weird. Witt had claimed that he brought the umbrella to mess with JFK since JFK's father, Joseph, was an avid supporter of Neville Chamberlain. Now, Neville Chamberlain was a British politician, and it was pretty widely and well known at the time that Neville carried a black umbrella to show his appeasement towards Hitler. And so when people started theorizing that it had something to do with the assassination, he told everyone that he was just carrying around the umbrella to mess with JFK, and he was just kind of like a peaceful protester type guy. Many people also began theorizing that Witt had definitely had something to do with the assassination, and that the reason he was carrying around the umbrella was to give signals to the real shooter. Some people had also started saying that Witt had shot a tranquilizer gun at JFK before the actual shot killed him, to also let the shooter know that, you can assassinate him now. As, the tranquilizer gun was just another form of a signal instead of the umbrella. Now, the people who were against this theory were very confused on what Louis Stephen Witt would have been signaling. They were saying things that since the car that JFK was in was clear and visible from many, many points in the plaza, there'd be no reason to signal anything. They also thought that there was a very clear view from where the shots have thought to come from. The people who were against the theory and had a lot of proof, debunking this theory, were just really confused with how some people had come to the conclusions that they had come to. People had just thought that there wasn't really enough evidence to say that Louis Stephen Witt was actually at fault for the assassination of JFK. Many people also recalled seeing that while JFK's limo was passing Witt, he had opened his umbrella and put it over his shoulder and supposedly started turning it in a clockwise motion. This is what made people start to think that he was signaling to the real shooter, like, now's your time. Now, many people had just thought that this was a really weird coincidence. This was a very popular theory at this time, due to the lack of answers. So people were just trying to debunk it to try to get more answers as to really who was the real shooter. Now, there are many pictures about this next part where Witt was seen after the shooting sitting in the grass next to another man, and then he had stood up and started walking toward the Texas School Book Depository. Now, the reason this is important is because this is where Lee Harvey Oswald was supposedly located during the shooting. I personally find this theory really interesting just because of the lack of evidence for some details of the assassination in the story. I do think that it is even crazier that they actually knew who the umbrella guy was and had a name for him and everything, and they still weren't able to get a whole lot of information and evidence about the assassination. Apparently, Louis Stephen Witt, following the assassination, had received a lot of harassment everywhere and anywhere he went. He sadly passed away November 17th in 2014, and he was 90 years old. But I also find it really interesting that this was one of the very few theories where they had a name and a picture and everything for the suspect, but they had barely any information about them and what they were doing the day he was assassinated. Alright, everyone, that is all for today. You've been listening to JFK Conspiracies. I'm Sophie, and I will see you all next week.